Spurge here. In this video, we are going to discuss the Dainese MIG-3 leather gloves. Now, these are coming in around the $120 price point. That is a $20 increase over the previous version. What you need to know about that is that we do have the price match guarantee, and these gloves will ship for free. So again, $20 increase over the previous version of the MIGs. We do have those to discuss the difference between the two. Really, this is the first update we've seen from the MIG line since 2014. Now, there is the full textile version of the MIG-3. This is going to be the MIG-3 leather version. And the real note here is that it's still a combination of leather and textile. So if you're looking for a step down, you could check out the Air version of the MIGs. That's, again, that full textile version for around the $100 price point. Or if you want to step up to a full leather glove, you can check out the black shapes. So that's really where these are going to fall in Dainese's line. Short cuff glove, really an all-around kind of like lightweight spring, summer into the fall short cuff glove from Dainese for a variety of different riding styles out there. Sizes will range from a 3 extra small up to a 3XL. I used Dainese's sizing chart. I measured my palm at 9.5 inches. That said that I should be a little bit closer to an extra large. I actually found that sizing up to a 2XL fit my hand better. So I would recommend sizing up one size based on what the size chart from Dainese recommends. Now, 3 different colors are available with this glove, and really when we're talking about the construction, we're not seeing a lot of change in the materials being used. This is still going to be a cowhide leather with a variety of 3D mesh worked in, and then an Amica Suede palm. Now, Amica Suede is a synthetic leather. Really what this means for you is that it's not gonna break in the same way leather would. So when you try the glove on, you really need to make sure that it fits right out of the box. A lot of times with a full leather glove, you can get it a little bit on the snug side and you can allow that leather to break in. This is not gonna break in the same way because of the massive amounts of Amica Suede that make up the palm on this particular glove. Now, if you're looking at this side by side with the old one, first and foremost, you can see there's definitely a style change on this, a lot more 3D mesh at the back of the wrist. And you're also going to note that you've lost this little bit of stretch material right here at the back of the hand as well. A little bit more ulna protection, so some padded ulna protection that moves a little bit further down the hand than the previous version, which I like with that. And then as we take a look at the palm on this, just kind of more of a mature style. You're not getting that weird upside down MIG in the center of the palm, and you are now getting touchscreen technology at the fingertips to use with your smart device, something that the older version didn't have. Now, just putting the glove on, the one thing that I would like to note is that the older glove felt a little bit sleeker throughout the wrist section. There's just a lot of bulk going on here, and at first I thought it was because I had sized up to a 2XL, so I actually tried an XL on. I was able to squeeze that onto my hand. Still bulky. There's almost like an extra like 1.5 inches, 2 inches of material at the back of the hand with the way they redesigned this, and with the way they had this stretch material at the back of the old glove, it just didn't have that extra bulk. It was a much sleeker design as it got through the wrist. So I definitely prefer the previous version as to the amount of room that you have at the hand on this. Just something to note as far as those of you out there that are making the jump from the previous version, you're gonna try the new one on. Definitely feels like there's more bulk in the back of the hand. As you work your way down, the split knuckle design is exactly the same, so you still have that TPU split knuckle finger, very comfortable to use. As you're working your way down, the biggest thing you'll note here is where those Amica Suede fingertips kind of curved all the way over for that added bit of protection on the previous version. You're losing that now. On the new version, they're doing that 3D mesh all the way down to the bottom of the finger on this, so no longer do you have the wraparound. You are, however, getting the touchscreen capability with the index and the thumb, so you can zoom in, you can zoom out. The other thing that's different is on the previous version, the leather that covered the outside of the pinky was one full piece. They've split that design on the new one, so there's actually 2 pieces of leather that are sewn together to cover there. You know, not a huge call out here other than the fact that I just like the single design better from a protection standpoint. Anytime you have less stitching, less places for potential failure. Now, the one thing that I will show you in this video, and you're really not going to be able to see it until you kind of put your hand on it, is the actual quality of the leather itself. And I've seen this with a lot of the new gloves from Dainese that we've been trying on. The leather just doesn't seem to have the same quality of hand the way previous versions did. Now, I don't know if Dainese has just changed their factory or if they're changing where they're sourcing the leather from. But for example, if you look at just even the leather pull on this, the old version looked like real leather. This one looks more like a synthetic leather. So it just looks like in certain areas, it's not the same high quality of design that we're used to from Dainese. You're also going to notice that here, they've got this a little elasticated stitching on the inside of the wrist. The old version didn't have that. And it just adds into that bulk that we were talking about. So there's definitely some features on the old one where the glove felt a little bit sleeker. However, with the new one, you are getting some updates, like I said, with that extra bit of protection around the ulna, as well as the touchscreen capability in the fingertips. And they also split the leather on the inside of the index finger and the thumb, which is a place where the old ones tended to bind up a little bit just because there wasn't that extra bit of stretch there. So I like the fact that they split that there. But all things considered, it is definitely going to be a different version of what the previous MIG was. And if you're just looking at this at face value, you don't necessarily see it right away, but it is something to consider when you're factoring in all that extra bulk around the wrist and when you're factoring in just the quality of the leather itself that we're seeing here from a hand perspective. I don't think it's necessarily going to jeopardize anything from a crash perspective, but it's definitely not the same kind of a feel when you put it on and you start touching the leather. And that's really what Dainese is known for. They're a premium brand, and typically we see nothing but the highest quality materials being used, which might not be the case with this new MIG 3. Something to consider as you're picking out your new pair of gloves. So if you want more information on the Dainese MIG 3s, perhaps you want to hear what other riders have to say, you can click the info button on your desktop or mobile device. You can read other rider reviews from folks that are out there putting the MIG 3s through their paces. And if you still have questions, you're not sure which pair of gloves is right for you, you can always reach out to one of our customer service representatives that can make sure that you have the right pair of gloves for your riding style as well as your budget. I want to thank you for joining us today for this look at the Dainese MIG 3 leather gloves. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.